Well, good afternoon, everyone. On this, depending on where you are, this bright sunny day or slightly overcast day. I am Dan Bell with the Hampton Roads Innovation Collaborative. We're the regions, Hampton Roads Regions Tech Council, Technology Council that was formed as a C6 all the way back in the late 90s, and we have been at it for so many years. Supporting incubators and business programs and technology in general, and just whatever we can do to help our local businesses thrive and grow into the region. This Tech Tuesday has been around for a couple of years now. It was turned on when COVID was amongst us. Some will argue that it still is. I agree with that, but so what? Here we are. So we're Zooming, and so we're pretty safe. But it's been fairly successful. You know, we really had something where for a while there we were getting like CIOs, people in the meeting rooms, and right at the beginning of COVID, and you know, you get 30-40 people into a room, and it's, you know, it's going to happen. And so next thing you know, the 30-40 turned into 15 or 20 and turned into 5 or 10, and then it's like you're almost by yourself. So you know, COVID has had an impact on all of us, but this is good because we have a video library of these, and people can access them, et cetera. So Tech Tuesday is co-sponsored by Cox, who's been a very good partner. I'm looking at the list. I don't see anybody from Cox on board, but thank you to them, and they've been a great partner for us and the region. I will very briefly state that pay attention to, please, to some of what we're doing with collaborative efforts with Startwheel and HRIC. We've started a product and process called HR BizWheel, and lots of good things coming from that. We've got thousands and thousands of companies. I think we probably have in the ballpark of 9,000 companies registered on our system. And why is that? So that we can help the world understand what Hampton Roads is, where it is, and what we have to offer. So I urge you all to go see hrbizwheel.com, and we're doing quite well with that. There's another part of that program called HR BizWheel Quarterly, and so just recently we get these events happening quarterly. They're a combination of an opportunity to showcase a particular company in the region. The last company that we showcased was Newport News Shipbuilding for their tremendous contribution to the region over the years, and we held it at the Mariners Museum, which was fantastic. And so our next one will be, I think, in Norfolk at the Slover. I believe on May 18th. Alan Hageman is on the call here. So Alan, if I say anything wrong, you correct me, please. But it's at the, I believe it's at the Slover, May 18th. And these run from 5 to 7. We're going to honor SVT Robotics and learn more about their business. And then where we have typically put in a couple hundred people in a room for these events, we're probably going to bust it open because of the Slover's capacity and fill it up with about 200. So I hope to see you all there. Enough about us, and I want to thank our partners from Virginia Economic Development Partnership, Megan Welch and Jason Smith. And I don't want to take any thunder away from them when trying to describe what it is that they do. Most of us do understand that. And they've been a tremendous asset to the Commonwealth. But with that, I would like to turn it over to Megan and Jason.
Thank you, Dan. Really excited to be here with you all today. I have a presentation, so I'll share my screen here. Feel free to drop comments in the chat. I will be keeping an eye on that as we go through and can address those. I am the managing director of the technology and corporate services team within business investment here at VEDP, and that means that me and my team lead the economic development efforts for the tech industry. So corporate headquarters, anything in software, cyber, data science, data centers, as well as corporate headquarters, back office, middle office as well, and the life science space. So both manufacturing and R&D and lab activities in the life science space. Just one quick check here. Can everyone see my screen? Yes.
I can, and let me also remind everybody that the chat is available, and so we'll get to any questions that you might have through that mechanism, and then if we have enough time at the end, we can activate everybody's video as well. We had one question: is your screen in full mode? I don't know if that's pertaining to this.
I think that was from earlier. So
yeah. Okay. Sorry. We're good now, right?
Yep. I think
Okay.
we're all set.
Thank you.
So again, here with my colleague, Jason Smith, with our Regional Talent Solutions and Business Outreach. He manages some specific programs within VEDP's portfolio that we'll get to later on in this presentation. So Virginia is America's East Coast tech hub. This is something that we really pride ourselves on, and we have a lot of assets to support that. I want to speak a little bit about VEDP and what our transformational goals for the Commonwealth are. First, robust state growth. We kind of align on making sure that everything we do can help increase that growth rate and rank us in the top 5 to 10 states in growth in the country. We want to ensure that every region participates in that growth. We want to be the best state for business. There are 5 or 6 national business climate rankings that we track annually. We have been #1 in several of them, and we aim to be 1 to 3 in the top of those every year. We also want to be the top state EDO, so the top state economic development organization, and be a super collaborator. That's with our regional and local economic development partners. I see Yaz on the call here, just one of the number of economic development partners across the state that we coordinate with in all of our efforts. We have a number of programs that we leverage to encourage this growth in jobs, wages, and investment, whether that's marketing, business retention and expansion, coordinating economic development projects, conducting research, providing grants or custom workforce solutions to projects, recruiting out-of-state firms. We have an entire trade division that can help existing Virginia companies expand their international sales. We also work very closely with the governor's office and our legislators to develop economic development policies and strategies. And we invest with our localities to develop project-ready sites across the state. We've had a number of recent wins. AWS recently announced $35 billion in investment in Virginia by 2040 to establish data center campuses across Virginia. That will create 1,000 jobs over the next 15 years or so. And more closer to home, we've worked with Drone Up to expand their headquarters in Virginia Beach, as well as establish a testing, training, and R&D center in Dinwiddie County, which will bring 655 new jobs to the region. Also worked with Doma Technologies in Virginia Beach to expand their footprint. And you mentioned it earlier, Dan, SVT Robotics. We worked with them to expand their Norfolk facility and increase employment there as well. We have an in-house team that tracks kind of the economics of Virginia and kind of informs some of the policy decisions that we make. So just a quick kind of baseline here. You'll see the drop in employment across the state since COVID-19. Virginia is the bright blue here. We have rebounded from COVID-19 employment lows, but we are still lagging behind our key peer competitor states. So While we're trending upward in our employment growth, we're still have a long way to go. And our labor force participation rate also has recovered to pre-COVID-19 levels as well. One thing we track is the U.S. domestic migration. Virginia, surprisingly, is at a net out migration since the pandemic. And one thing that we're seeing is that our key competitor states are taking the majority of that migration growth. So the top 7 states are capturing 3/4 of the growth of domestic migration. So in order to increase our ranking, which is currently at 26 in that employment growth perspective, there's a number of things that we're going to have to do at the state level in partnership with our regional and locals to cultivate that growth that we're prioritizing. So one of the things that I'm most interested in is this knowledge work sector. Virginia is projected to be ranked 31st in growth in this knowledge work sector. So that's software, cybersecurity, that's aerospace and defense innovation, that's financial services, those office-based jobs. We are forecasted to have kind of an average performance compared to our competitor states. So again, here's Virginia's growth forecast. That baseline, the highest peer states are up here and average here. And, Virginia is projected to be significantly lower than our peer states. So with that in mind, I want to share kind of where VEDP is going. Our goal is to be a nation-leading economic development enterprise that positions Virginia as an unparalleled business location. And there's 3 things that we're going to do in order to push that growth and achieve that goal. One is increase sector depth. So taking that really deep sector focused lens on our economic development efforts. And so really leaning in on that knowledge work is one thing that I'm going to be focusing on, as well as the other sectors, manufacturing and transportation and logistics. We want to build robust ecosystems. So that's really where we are going to align with our regional and local partners, and that's economic development, that's tech innovation councils, that's higher ed, that's everyone in the spectrum, to really strengthen our ecosystems on a regional level to generate greater project growth and greater organic employment growth. So what can we do? What levers can we pull to ensure that our existing businesses are continuing to grow and thrive? And then the third is Commonwealth collaboration. This is a whole of government approach. So working with the entirety of state government to align with our partners and deliver very direct initiatives to deliver impact. So as we're kind of taking this innovative model for economic development and economic growth, what does success look like? We will be a leading state for employment growth in our target sectors. We will ensure that more people are moving to Virginia than moving away. And our overall project wins will increase. And we'll see a lot of that organic job growth. Virginia has a lot of assets already, as we know, and I'm just going to quickly go through those, but through this innovative framework, our goal is to just really accelerate those efforts and leverage those assets for the economic growth that we're projecting. We have the highest concentration of tech talent in the country, so twice the national average. Significantly more than any competitor on the East Coast. And that translates to 315,000 people in the tech sector and in tech occupations in Virginia. A large pool of that talent is represented by our veterans, certainly focused in the Hampton Roads area. 41% of our veterans have a bachelor's degree or higher and are committed to staying in Virginia after they transition out of the military. And we have a number of programs such as the Virginia Values Veterans to support veterans in achieving tech jobs and other jobs in the Commonwealth after they transition out. We are also a very diverse tech cluster. So you'll see Chesapeake here is one of the top 5 best cities for women in tech. And then we have we're ranked in the top 10 states for tech talent that is Asian American, Black, and foreign born. And how do we create this talent? It's with our nationally ranked higher education system. We have we're the number one state in the South for educational attainment. We have the number 2 most colleges listed among the best colleges in America, and 60% of our graduates remain in Virginia following graduation. That's a number that we want to capture more of those graduates, and that's going to be one of our innovative framework initiatives, is how do we increase that number from 60 to a little bit higher. Virginia, and this is a result of the Amazon HQ2 project. We are investing more than $2 billion in performance-based tech talent initiatives to double the annual computer science graduates. So right now, Virginia's baseline production is about 12,000 tech degrees annually. And this program will add 32,000 graduates over the next 20 years. At institutions across the state. And this is an image of the Virginia Tech Innovation Campus. It's over here. That is going to be a major producer of that talent. They're building this building in Alexandria. I was up there last week, and they have the framework in, and they're well on their way for construction here. And here are the universities that are participating in that tech talent production. You'll see ODU is a partner here, Norfolk State, and a number of others, William and Mary and others in the region that are participating in that growth. Just a highlight on ODU, they created at the request of DoD, the Virginia Modeling, Analysis, and Simulation Center, which is a premier center for modeling and simulation across the globe. And it's really great for them to partner with research with the private sector. SAIC, Booz Allen, MITRE, and others have been partners in that. And our tech ecosystem continues to grow. We do have a very large and diverse ecosystem throughout the state, including Hampton Roads. And we are the #1 cybersecurity leader in the US. One of the things that we see as really emerging is kind of unique tech sectors across the state, from AI and ML to EdTech, FinTech, IoT, and otherwise. And we're really looking to see how we can help those sectors grow in the future. Hampton Roads, as you know, this is kind of how we pitch Hampton Roads when we speak to clients internationally and across the country. In Hampton Roads, you can tap into exceptional veteran talent. You've got the transatlantic cables that provide, ultra high speed connectivity. You have a thriving industry presence, and you can tap into that regional talent pipeline that I mentioned earlier. One thing we always like to highlight is case studies. So this is Sarah Bryn. In Suffolk, one thing I would share with you all is if you all have any other unique case studies of the private sector partnering with higher ed or otherwise in your region, that would be great for us to share with companies that are looking at the state. Please send those my way. We're always looking for more information on that. And then top state for business here, as I mentioned earlier, we have been consistently ranked as a top state to do business, whether it's business climate, tax policies, regulatory environment, or otherwise. Forbes, Business Facilities, CNBC, those are the types of national rankings that we're tracking. And then we certainly like to mention our proximity as a mid-Atlantic location, tapping talent from across the East Coast. So you'll see 47% of the US lives within a one-day drive, and 75% within a 2-day drive of Virginia. And then I will hand it over to Jason, just as my light goes out here, to talk about our regional talent solutions and business outreach support.
Cool. Excuse me. Thank you, Megan. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Cool. Perfect. So, all right. Well, hey, everybody. Thanks for having Megan and I today. I'm Jason Smith with VEDP. My title is a regional talent solutions and business outreach manager. Think of it more of as an existing business manager. So our focus is going to be on existing Virginia companies. I'm going to provide just a brief overview of our BR&E initiative throughout the state and cover one of the programs that I think you guys might be interested in, and then turn it back over to everybody for Q&A. So basically, I'm one of 8 existing business managers here at VEDP, and we have an assigned region throughout the Commonwealth, so we can have more of a boots on the ground regional presence. We serve as the point of contact for our local economic development and regional economic development teams. We want to understand the regional business climate first and foremost, but we also have other triggers and other programs that we can help facilitate. And at the end of the day, it's all about relationships. So we want to be that voice and eyes and ears from I guess, the local side. I cover about 15 localities. I said before, I'm one of 8, so that's probably about average. I believe there's around 120 or so localities throughout the Commonwealth. So we've got our hands full. My team also manages the Virginia Jobs Investment Program, which is the discretionary incentive that VEDP offers to new and existing businesses that are looking to grow. VJIP basically offsets recruiting and training costs for companies. While visiting companies, when we're out talking with local economic developers and Virginia companies in our region, we also want to collect that feedback from our local and regional EDOs that's delivered back to VEDP, so we can continue our process improvements internally and focus on additional strategies and/or best practices as they come up. So our main mission basically is to be proactive in business retention, to understand challenges and opportunities that folks like yourself and other companies throughout the Commonwealth are experiencing. We want to get ahead of the game, not have to react so much, but we understand that sometimes that's just how it rolls. So I'm going to go ahead and share one of our programs that I believe could be beneficial to you and some other partners that you might know of. Cool. Thanks, Megan. Economic gardening. Been around for a while, about 35 years. It's a program geared towards finding data and research to support a company's domestic lead generation strategy. If you're familiar with the term economic gardening, you probably know it's a grow your own program, or maybe you've heard of the idea of working with local companies to create jobs and wealth. This is not a program that we're marketing outside of the state. This is for Virginia's existing companies to take advantage of. So we work with emerging or growing stage 2 companies. Stage 2 is defined as having 5 to 100 employees, between 1 and 50 million annual revenue. We've got flexibility in meeting those minimum metrics, but the objective is to work with Virginia companies if they're looking to grow domestic sales. The program is available for traded sector companies only, so no retail or restaurants. Service-based companies, i.e. accountants, banks, financially stressed companies, etc. Think of it as exporting innovation. You know, when you've gone out to Walmart or CVS or your local store and you come across a really cool product and you're like, I wonder where that's made. If it's made in Virginia, hopefully we can get them involved in the program and grow their sales. Simply put, the program is going to focus on accelerating domestic sales through customized market research, search engine optimization, and finding qualified sales leads. Next slide, please. So what's let's see, where did it come from? Chris Gibbons coined the phrase back in the mid 80s. If you are interested, I would suggest clicking on the link when you get the presentation, and that'll take you to the National Center for Economic Gardening's main webpage, and you can dive into some other history. But Chris Gibbons is usually on most of our phone calls with Virginia companies. He created the program because one of their top employers in Littleton, Colorado at the time just ended up leaving, lost some government contracts and lost about 2,500 employees. And his board immediately said, hey, stop focusing on the next big whale. Let's focus on our existing companies and work with them to grow and attract new business to add more jobs for our local folks. Right now, they're probably in about 25 plus states throughout the U.S. We're one of those states that have taken advantage of their resources. I'll get to the nitty gritty as far as the program details here in a second. Next slide, please. So what's our role? The National Center for Economic Gardening provides the research specialists. VEDP's role is to find Virginia companies that fit into the criteria and are looking to grow domestic sales. So we work with everyone that you see on your screen. Obviously, from a business support standpoint, these folks are boots on the ground. They're talking to Virginia companies. They're looking for ways to support these companies, and we work very closely with the SBDCs and local EDOs, especially because they know a lot more about their companies in their backyard than VEDP does mostly. So we have a strong partnership with our local and regional EDOs. Occasionally we'll have economic gardening companies refer a friend. Gosh, I think I had one guy in Stanton. Every few months he'll make a referral, which is good. So that tells us that we've done our job and not just recruiting a great program or client, but they also saw the value, and now they're trying to pass it on to their clients and or other business partners in the region. Next slide, please. So just really quick, how's an engagement look? We offer the program at no cost. It's about $4,300 per engagement. Each engagement takes place usually within about 6 to 8 weeks. And we've got 36 hours of research time that our research team will focus on. Sorry, my screen just went out. We've got 36 hours of research time that our team will focus on the domestic lead generation deliverables that I talked about, whether it's SEO, find qualified sales leads, or market research. One example that I'll share with you, and I'll have to read off my notes here. Every engagement's unique, so it's gonna involve a lot of communication back and forth between the company and our research team. So if you were to ask me, can you give me a sample deliverable? I can give you a sample based off of what a company has asked for, but like I said, every company has its unique challenges to growing sales in their specific industry. One example, we worked with Golden Piedmont Lab down in South Boston, their hemp processing plant in Southern Virginia, and we went through the program in about a couple months, probably about a year ago. So this is a fairly new industry in Virginia. So we were a little concerned at first with some of the market research that we might be able to pull or not pull. But I'm going to just spout out 4 deliverables that we were able to find them. The first one was they wanted to know more about the emerging CBD labs that were scattered across the US. We were able to find a lot of those labs that are doing similar work to what they're doing. So from a competitive market research standpoint, they were able to learn more about their competition and see what they're working on and where. The second deliverable, we were able to pull current trends in the CBD use. So that involved a lot more market research and finding who's doing what, maybe learning more about the competitors' product lines or maybe new products that they're talking about. The next deliverable that we worked on was best practices for inbound marketing. Of Going back to the SEO part, it's probably one of the more exciting deliverables that we can provide, because we can literally show companies how they compare in the industry from a digital marketing standpoint. So we can identify keywords that they're using or should be using compared to their competitors. Because at the end of the day, it's all about creating a more even playing field. Going back to the history of EG, that's why the program exists and why it was started. And then the last deliverable we worked with Golden Piedmont on was we were able to find more data on their competitors in relation to their SEO and their digital marketing strategy. So just to compare, sometimes you can see what your colleagues or competition is doing. Sometimes that can make a big difference. A lot of the times when we're talking with smaller businesses in Virginia that can take advantage of the economic gardening program, they don't have the bandwidth. I'm sure some of you might be, you can appreciate that. So this takes the marketing and the research piece off of their plates, and they can focus on what they need to focus on. We can do the heavy lifting from a market research and sales lead piece, and then basically hand off this information to the company or to companies to then make better business decisions. Next slide, please. So just really quick summarize, the economic gardening program is really focused on nurturing local Virginia-based companies. We're not recruiting companies to other communities or from other communities. We're working with existing companies here in Virginia. Again, second stage companies defined as having 5 to 100 employees, 500,000 to 50 million annual revenue, with an interest in growing domestic sales. We partner with the NCEG, the National Center for Economic Gardening. VEDP funds the program. We work with the NCEG to utilize their research team that then work with our Virginia companies. And then the top 3 deliverables are tailored market research, SEO, and find qualified sales leads. We don't counsel. The program doesn't exist to counsel companies or consult or help implement the strategy and data that we find. We're merely providing that data and research for them to use as a tool in growing their domestic sales. If you'd like to talk more about potential companies, or maybe you yourself are interested in learning more about the program, feel free to send me a note. I'll leave my email and information in the chat box, and I'd love to talk more soon.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
All right. So just to wrap up, shared a lot about how Virginia pitches the tech sector, some of the forward-thinking perspectives of where we see ourselves in the future, and the steps to get there. But right now, I want to share kind of what we do right now. We offer custom services and solutions to support companies' growth. That's companies that are new to Virginia and also our existing companies. We act as the single point of contact at the state level. So whether that's a company that comes to us and is looking to really create a partnership with certain higher ed institute, or they need funding they're a startup company and they need some more funding to be able to take it to the next level. We work with our partners at the Virginia Innovation Partnership Corporation, VIPC, and otherwise. We also provide site selection assistance, so identifying what those specific real estate requirements are and recommending properties, office and industrial based on the client's needs. We also coordinate site visits with our regional and local stakeholders. So that's, regional economic development organizations, local economic development organizations, higher ed, workforce partners, utilities, you name it, we coordinate that. As Jason mentioned, VEDP has an in-house research arm, and so we do a lot of tailored research, cost comparisons, state benchmarking, labor analytics for our clients. And then once the company is seriously considering Virginia, we have custom incentive proposals that we can provide to help induce a Virginia location decision. I mentioned our international trade services earlier, and then we also have a talent solutions team that can offer customized incentives to support workforce needs. Just a few of our incentives that are kind of most applicable to what you all may be considering for growth. The Commonwealth Opportunity Fund is our deal closing fund. It's a cash grant that's matched 1-to-1 between the state and the locality. That's given to a company to offset those costs, hard costs. Telework incentives. We do allow for telework positions to count toward our job requirements for our incentives. We also, the state has a major business facility job tax credit and our data center sales and use tax exemption. And I'll just jump into our custom training programs. We have the Virginia Talent Accelerator Program, which provides custom solutions for recruitment, screening, as well as training talent at no cost to the clients. Or we offer the Virginia Jobs Investment Program that Jason was mentioning earlier. That's a cash grant to offset those recruitment and training costs. So with that, I'll wrap up. Jason and my contact information is here. You'll get the presentation as well. Happy to answer any questions that you have. And thank you for the time today.
All right, just great information. Thank you very much for that. There's some things that popped up. It was great to see that that you've gone to helping Drone Up, a very good friend of ours, Mr. Tom Walker, and you all saw that the big announcement with, of course, Drone Up landing, no pun intended, Walmart. And so and you saw that picture, that slide, and of one of Drone Up's platforms, and Walmart in the background. And so, quick quiz to the audience, speakers included. You may or may not know, what is the #1 delivery that Drone Up makes for Walmart? Hamburger helper.
Wow.
Which I haven't had any of that in about 20 years, but now I have to try it, oh, here, I'll come back to video too. And so anyway, congratulations to Drone Up. By the way, they were our showcase company at the Hive location in Virginia Beach Town Center on December 1st. And so we packed the house there and had a great time. And there was a platform, a display platform in the conference room, and so it was just a great event. So moving on to a couple questions here. Chesapeake, Megan, you said there was a very interesting statistic: top 5 Chesapeake for women in technology.
Oh yeah, pull that up. So it's and I haven't looked at the report recently, but yes, there's a ranking of the national ranking of the top communities for women in tech, and Chesapeake was on the list.
That's fantastic. What a great piece of information. Alan Hagerman, I'm sorry I missed your chat response where you were ooh, I know. So what was the guy's name? Horshack, I think, from the TV show. Anyway, you're doing that. Sorry, I missed it. I would have given you the opportunity to answer. Let's talk about anybody else. I don't want to take the time here. Anybody, any other questions? Feel free to put them in there. Otherwise, I'm going to keep it rolling for a few minutes here. Let's talk Williams Farm. And I know you can. Williams Farm is, of course, a mega site on the southern borders. This is for everybody, you guys from the EDP note, but for others who may not, this is a mega site development on the southern border of Chesapeake, owned by Frank Williams, right? And they've had it in their family for years and years and years, and it's a great overnight story that's taken about 20 years to come to fruition, but the wheels are turning. And I can only imagine, Megan and Jason, I can only imagine the types of conversations that are being held with respect to what type of organizations, et cetera, that are interested in kicking the tires for the Williams Farm. It's going to be fantastic. I think the first level of development, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's like 1,500 acres or something like that. I think the whole parcel is about 4,000 acres. Some of that may not be fully developed because of wetlands and things of that nature, but nonetheless, we're talking. I mean, the first stage is 1,500 acres, so it's going to be an amazing thing. And it, like I tell people, it's not just about Chesapeake. This is a great opportunity for the entire state. The Commonwealth is going to see the benefits. Several cities in the region are going to see the benefits. So this is just, and I'm telling you, when I call it a mega site, it's the #1 mega site that was in the state. So I mean, this is just a wonderful thing. Cybersecurity, the interesting statistic that you provided about cybersecurity, Megan, and is that all DoD related?
No, we have a really diverse, I mean, it's certainly majority DoD related, but we have a lot of diversity in our cyber industry. So there's a lot of cyber companies in the financial sector that are working, and so yeah, it's heavy DoD, certainly with the cyber military capabilities in Hampton Roads.
Yep.
But it's all over the place.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think in June we're trying to put together our Tech Tuesday for State of Cyber. So that should be very, very interesting too. And of course, on the DoD side, it speaks for itself. And I think you mentioned Sarah, you had Sarah Vernon there as an example. So wonderful thing. The whole economic gardening conversation, it's amazing. You know, if you wait long enough, the terminology that comes back around, they didn't even change it this time. It's like, yeah, we're economic gardening. That's more power to them, you know. And so that's a great program. You know, I tip my hat to what y'all are doing with that, but it totally makes sense. So I mean, you guys are just all over it. Would like to work closer with you for HR BizWheel when you talk about supporting the ecosystems and work and strengthening the ecosystems, etc. I'd welcome that conversation to see how we can do better in Hampton Roads and do our part in Hampton Roads. As you know, there's a lot of moving parts in our region as well as anybody else's, and they're all, you know, trying to row the boat as fast as they can. Sometimes, you know, they get off course a little bit, as do we, and the boat doesn't go straight, but, you know, we keep trying to make our corrections, and your feedback would be extremely valuable in that regard. So maybe someday we can get on the phone together and walk you through the system and see what you think, and, you know, have you kick the tires on it. And we just want to do better and better and better as best we can. So, and of course, our efforts, along with organizations like Hampton Roads Alliance and others, you know, it takes a lot. It takes a lot from a lot of people and organizations to make things successful. So, and the state is doing its part too. So, thank you much for that.
I'll just share, you know, one of my goals on the ecosystem development front is to probably in the next month or two, actually be in Hampton Roads and have a workshop type of event to you know, have key folks from the industry have kind of a roundtable discussion workshop situation to talk through, you know, what's working in the ecosystem in Hampton Roads, what's the, you know, pie in the sky, you know, dream future state, and how I'd be able to partner to get there.
That would be wonderful. Please keep me posted on that, and I would look forward to participating in that event for sure. That's exactly the type of conversation that we need. So, great to hear that you still got DOMA on the radar. They're an old friend, and ADP. You know, ADP is an interesting conversation too. I mean, obviously we know who ADP is, etc. I don't know a lot of the details about ADP in Norfolk, and that's my bad. That's on me. But I think we need to have that conversation, because we certainly, if they would allow it, like to learn more about them and their contributions to the region, and how we can help out. So it may be a good open opportunity. It may not, but we won't know until we chat about it. Same thing with Dollar Tree. I mean, Dollar Tree, although in Chesapeake, it's one of the few corporate headquarters that they have, and great contributing factor to the overall financial well-being of the region, etc. We don't get a lot of opportunities to talk with the Dollar Tree people. I think it's just more of a cultural thing, in terms of taking care of their own business first and all that. And that's okay, because you take care of your business, and that helps take care of things too. So, but we'll keep knocking on the door. We got about 11:50. Anybody else got any other comments? Alan, thank you for posting that article. I'll read that right after the call. Yeah, that's good. So is everybody good? All righty then. Well, I want to thank, was something else come in? No, I don't see it. Well, thanks to Megan and Jason so much. What great materials, what a great effort, and thank you for doing what you do to help us all, region by region, and overall for the state. We very much appreciate that. And thank you for all the participants. I must tell you, Megan, Jason, I think you took the prize in terms of the percentage of registrants who actually showed up on the call, because everybody relies on a lot of people rely on the video or whatever. It's like, well, we're going to change that game. So, but y'all all did great with darn near 20 people showing up, 17 or 18 people on board. So very, very good. But with that, I want to thank everybody. Hopefully where you are is sunny and warm, or will be soon. And same thing with where I am. So, all right, everybody, thanks. Have a wonderful time, and watch for the email from me. We'll have a recording to the video, a link to that, as well as a PDF of the slides, and all contact information is in there. And if you haven't worked with VEDP before, do so now. It's a great opportunity. So thank you all. Have a wonderful day. Take care.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.